All right, guys, what's going on? Cobra Trading back again. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, very big welcome. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button for all of my updates. Normally, I do Bitcoin analysis 2 times a week, and I just started doing some product reviews on this channel as well. But without getting into all of that, today I want to go over something that I've been getting a lot of questions about, and that is heat maps. So what a heat map is, how do you use it? How do you set it up? How do you incorporate it into your trading strategy? How do you read it? All of those 5 things we're going to answer right now in this video. So let's head over to the charts. If you would like to follow along with this video, I'm going to be using TradingLite. So TradingLite is a new heat map platform that specializes in digital assets like Bitcoin and the derivatives exchanges and stuff like that. Definitely, in my opinion, is the best one out there because of all of the options and stuff like that I'm going to explain later on in the video. So check out the description below and head on over to their website if you want to follow along. So here we are on TradingLite. I am down in the bottom left, I guess, corner of the screen, and I'm only going to be there for just a little moment of your time, because before I get into how to incorporate a heat map in your strategy and how to read it and all of those awesome things, the very first thing that I have to explain is the actual platform itself. You have to understand how to use it properly and where all of the little options and bells and whistles are so that you can make it your own before you can really start getting into using it and making it a part of your trading strategy, right? So this is no different. This is another tool for your toolbox. So let's look at this interface, right? So over here on this left-hand side, right, we've got basically your average toolbar. So if you use a charting software like TradingView, you're going to feel really at home with this interface. So all of the tool tips and stuff like that, all your drawing tools and all that good stuff is right over here on the left. So you've got your little magnet tool. You can show and hide all your drawings. You can lock the drawing tools. You've got your pencil tool, your line tool, parallel channel, rectangle box, horizontal and vertical ray, Fibonacci retracement and extension tool, GAN, fan, and other measurements. And then you can just trash all the drawings. I like how they have one button for that. So if it gets too crazy on here, you can just delete them all and then start right over. So that's pretty awesome. And these are the exchanges that they have, right? So over here, if you hover over this menu, they've got Bitfinex, BitMEX, Binance, Binance Futures, Bitstamp, Coinbase, Durbit, and OKEX spot and futures, and all of the pairings on each of those exchanges. Well, all of the major ones that are leveraged for the most part. So they keep this up to date all the time. The developers are really, really on point with keeping all of the leveraged assets on these exchanges up to date all the time. So kudos to the development team for that. So you'll notice here that Binance Futures, OKEX spot, and futures is grayed out. So those, how it says subscribers only. Now I am a subscriber, but I do not have the professional version just yet. So I do not have access to those, but I don't really need access to those in the first place. I don't really trade on those exchanges, so it doesn't really affect me. Up here, you've got the different candles and stuff like that. So, you know, you can change between regular candles and Heiken Ashi. And I'm going to go over this stuff more in just a minute, but basically the 2 default ones that show up on the map immediately is obviously the heat map and the volume indicator. I'll turn the heat map on real quick. For those of you that don't know what a heat map is, don't freak out just yet with all the crazy colors and all these little blocks and stuff. Calm down. I got you. Listen to your friendly Cobra. I will explain it to you in just a minute. So by default, this is sorted by 50 cents. Now, what I really, really, really like about this platform is you can choose what you want to sort it by. It's not, you know, $1, 50 cents, $1, $5, $10, $50, $100. You can choose whatever you want. You want to sort it by 4, go ahead, sort it by 4. You want to sort it by 4.5 or 40.5, sort it by 40.5. You can type in whatever number up here you want. I tend to leave this at 50. That's just my thing, just what I do. It groups it better, and you can see where the buy and sell walls are a little easier because 50 is one of those mental numbers, right? So over here on the right side of your price grouping, you've got your recent trades. So this is going to be all of the recent trades that have happened on BitMEX for the Bitcoin, right? So over here, it tells you what the price is. And then obviously it's going to see how this one is a little brighter. It highlights bigger orders. Now, another thing that I really like about this is it's constantly showing all these orders, and you're even seeing like these little, 2 contract and 31 contract orders, right? So to filter out all that noise, which is awesome, you can come up here and again, you can put in whatever number you want. So the minimum volume count, I normally do 10,000 for that. And then the sound alert, which I'm going to have turned off for this video. Plus, I'm not going to lie, I kind of wish that the developers would change the sound a little bit. It's kind of a good and a bad thing. It's a little annoying if you're not actively trading and scalping, but at the same time, since it is annoying, it grabs my attention a lot more. So I normally leave this at 1 million. So now you notice that as I changed the first one, it immediately started filtering out all of these tiny BS orders, right? So now I'm only seeing orders that are like made by actual people. Let's start taking a look at some of these other things, right? So when you come over here and you press the settings button down on the bottom left, and there's actually, let me do the indicators first and explain this VPVR. So there's open interest, which is kind of cool because this is actually going to show it. I believe it shows it on, okay, so it doesn't show it on the candles. It just shows it on a separate chart, which is kind of cool. So you've got, these are the default ones. So you've got your open interest, your VPVR, you've got footprint. I don't normally do this one. This one, I do like the information, but it tends to make the heat map a little bit hard to read because all of the little blocks kind of start bleeding together, right? You've got your regular volume, which is down here. I showed you that before. Your regular VPVR, which is just the regular visible range. And the one that I use allows you to see the dominant volume at a certain price. So per price level, it splits this bar up. See how it's different colors? It splits it up for how much volume is at each of those price levels. So the really, really, really cool thing about this platform, right, is they have community scripts. So they have their own script service, kind of like TradingView has PineScript. These guys have their own as well. There's moving averages, there's ribbons, there's clouds. There's a lot more on here actually than when I first started using this. There's actually quite a bit more, hundreds more. I think there was like 5 of these when I first started using it. Now there's hundreds of them. Oh, by the way, this isn't a sponsored video or anything like that. I'm making this video because you guys asked what heat maps were, and I'm explaining my favorite platform to use and how it works. That's it. Again, don't freak out, and really don't freak out because I am about to disappear off of your screen. Boop, there, I'm gone. Okay, so now that I'm gone off of your screen and it's a little bit less distracting, let's take a look at the heat map, right? So the very first thing is that you'll notice that these bars extend to the right past the candles, and that is not a normal setting. So if you go to the layers here and you click heat map, in order for you to be able to do this, and I recommend doing it, is you have to select heat map in your layer settings, and then you click this drop down box and you can select if you want it off or if you want it up to 100 ticks. I normally just leave mine at 10 or 20. It seems to be just enough for me because then I can still see these VPVR over here, the visible range. Also, there's preset default color schemes and stuff. If you want to switch the colors up or whatever, there's different color schemes, depending on I guess your mood or whatever. I tend to just leave it at default. It's easier for me. All of these colors, what this heat map is telling you, the way that heat maps work is it splits the chart up into all of these little boxes that you see. And all of those boxes represent limit orders that are on the order books, right? So you've got your order book over here and it's telling you all these orders. And what a heat map does is you can see as I'm rolling over these different price levels, you can see this blue bar scrolling up and down the actual chart. So what this is, when you, let's move this down, I'll sort this by 10. So you can see here that as I'm moving my mouse down, that blue bar changes. So what this means is that when I hover over 9,900 here on the order book, it's showing me these orders, right? At 9,900 right here, where this yellow bar is. See how it's a total of 47.5 million contracts right here? That's why this bar is lit up yellow. The brighter the color, this one just lit up because somebody put a sell order up here. The brighter the colors are, the more orders are at that price level, right? So those are active orders that are on the order book. So what does this tell us? So this tells us a couple things, and these are, for me, these are the most useful things that I use it for. I tend to use heat maps when I'm either buying spot for a larger swing position, or I'm using the heat map on a lower time frame when I'm trying to do scalping. Now, why would I want to use a heat map on a low time frame when I'm scalping? Well, when I'm scalping on my actual exchange, which is Bybit, by the way, you can get $90 by signing up with my affiliate link in the description below. I tend to be trading on the 1 minute and 5 minute chart, right? Okay, well, if I'm looking at this hour chart, which is still, for all things considered, a low time frame, I can see where these big bars are. Well, these big flat lines on derivatives exchanges are normally associated, they're called liquidity pools, but on derivatives exchanges, those are normally associated with liquidation levels. So what do I mean by that? So let's say that you enter into a short position, right? Or actually, let's use this chart as an example. Let's say that you enter into a long position, right? And you were late into getting onto this move, and you entered into your position here because you knew that it was starting to moon. You saw these last 3 candles. The price is coming up, it's mooning, and Cobra forgot to tell you to buy because he was making videos all day, and you ended up placing a huge 50x long order right in the middle of this candle, right? So you got in somewhere on this candle and you're 50x leveraged. Well, you're really over leveraged for being in a position. So this right here, since this is a flat line and it just keeps going and going and going, this is a liquidation level, right? This is a liquidation level. So what that means is that when people are placing orders, when they're short or they're long, they're going to have a liquidation price. So normally when you are trading on a derivatives exchange and you see things like this, these are liquidation levels of shorts and long orders. So obviously when the price is below, those are going to be liquidation levels of the long orders. And when the price is above, those are going to be liquidation levels of the short orders, because a short order, you're betting that the market is going to go down. So if the price moves higher, the price is moving against you. So your liquidation level is above where the current price is. If you're long, it's the exact opposite. You don't want the price to come down, because if it comes down far enough, you're going to get liquidated. So where are these liquidation levels currently? Well, we can see that these lines, certain lines, have been very solid for long periods of times. Now, normally, when you're looking at an exchange, the heat map does not look like this. So let's actually find, let's look at Coinbase. Okay, so Coinbase doesn't really have very much like high leverage and stuff like that. So this is what a normal heat map looks like. See how there isn't very much going on around the price action and stuff, even if I really turn this like really high up, how there's not really too much going on around the price action. Now let's compare that to BitMEX without moving this slider. By the way, this slider increases or decreases the intensity of the heat map. So If you have it all the way down, the chart's unreadable. If you have it on 100, it's like only going to show you extremely high liquidity areas. And on Coinbase, you can see this was a really high liquidity level for shorts, and obviously they all got liquidated, right? So that's what ended up causing this price. A lot of shorts ended up getting liquidated above here. They got liquidated, bam, the price spiked up further. However, if you look on BitMEX, without moving this slider, let's look at BitMEX on XBT. If you look on BitMEX with the same thing, there's a whole bunch of craziness going on here. Now, the reason why it looks like this and it looks like a big mosaic is because BitMEX obviously has way more volume on it compared to Coinbase. So currently, there's a lot of short orders up here waiting to get triggered at 10,180 right here. You can see this huge bar, right? About 13 million contracts are waiting to get triggered here. So every time the bulls try to push it up to here, there's going to be this big wall up here, unless something like that happens where that big order ends up going into post only, where it turns into an iceberg order that can't be seen on the order book, or if that person physically takes their order off of the order book. So how do you use this in terms of trading? I already answered what everything is, how to set everything up. I explained the interface. I explained what all of these different colors and all of that means in terms of liquidity pools and orders. So how do you use this into your trading strategy, right? How do I use this? So if I'm going short right now, saying that, hey, you know what, Bitcoin is going to correct here. If I'm going short, where am I going to place my stop order? Well, chances are I would come over and see this heat map and see that there's no liquidations levels for shorts up here at all. There's just no heat up here. It's way the hell up here at 11,500. Those are probably 10x short orders that are just, their liquidation is way the hell up here. Chances are I'm seeing that, and that's making me think that, hey, I probably shouldn't be shorting here, right? Well, no, because all of this heat, all of these bright colors, we've got a lot of heat down here below the price. That means that there's a lot of buy orders down here. So if you sort the order book by 50 and bring it up, you can see that, right? Look at these totals. 16 million at 10,050, 26 million at 10,500, another 36 million at 99.50. So, you know, just right here, there's about 60 or 70 million contracts, you know, in this price zone right here. So there's a lot of support around at 10,100. Well, obviously you want to buy at support and sell at resistance. So shorting into support is normally not a very good idea. So I use this for my analysis because you can kind of get a better idea of how where the bulls and bears are fighting in the most immediate price action. But more importantly, it helps you avoid getting stopped out and getting stop hunted. So occasionally there'll be these huge liquidity pools and people will get stop hunted, right? So like up here, there was this big liquidity pool, and a lot of people started basically exiting their short positions. But if they hadn't, and this had carried over all the way to here, this would have been a huge trigger. Now, there was still a good amount of heat at this level up here where we wicked up into this, and that was why it caused the price action to come back down. I hope that I'm making sense here and explaining it decent enough for you guys to be able to understand this. But basically, these bars represent limit orders that are on the order book. And the way that you can utilize that into your trading strategy is it can help you understand where is a good place and where is not a good place to be putting your stop losses if you're getting into a bigger swing position, right? So if you want to enter into a long position, you know, you'd be wanting to enter into a retrace and you'd probably be laddering in your buy orders and stuff like that. But you wouldn't want to have your stop above this 9,900 level. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't want your stop here. You would want your stop below this liquidity. You'd want it somewhere in here. See what I'm saying? So if the price came down and you were laddering your stops, but you had your stop here above this liquidity pool, that means that, well, what's going to happen? I guarantee you it's happened before. The price came down, it triggered all of your buy-ins, it hit your stop, and then it continued up in the same direction. How many times has that happened to you? Be honest. How many times has that happened to you? I guarantee you it's happened to you a lot. It's happened to me a lot. Yes, I did pop down in the bottom left corner of your screen again. It happens to me. It happens to everybody, especially on these leveraged exchanges. Those are called stop hunts, or as I like to say, getting John Wicked. So this heat map is a fantastic tool to add to your toolbox. Sorry, I'm throwing the pasta hand. It's a fantastic tool to add to your toolbox. Now you can have the ability to detect these liquidity pools and be able to move your stops around above or below them, depending on your risk management strategy and things like that, of course, but you have the ability to avoid those liquidity pools. That was pretty much the purpose of this video. I really hope that that answered a lot of your questions about heat maps. I haven't found very many other videos out there explaining heat maps in terms of digital assets. So I really wanted to make this video. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Give me a like and subscribe, if you like the video. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down and let me know in the comments down below what I missed or if I explained something wrong. Feel free to check the description if you need to get a hold of me. My DMs are always open, and make sure that you check the links in the description below for my educational articles on my Medium, to register on Bybit so that you can follow my trades, as well as, of course, the TradingLite platform. Again, thank you for watching the video today. My name is Cobra Trading. I will see you next time.